What's happening, forum? It's me, PsychFuckBastardMan69, back with another RPG Maker video. Who would have thought, hey? Been a while, but still the videos I get the most reception on by a very large margin. So today, in the spirit of Halloween, of spooky season, I'm just going to be making this video again. But one, you can actually hear my voice properly this time, and two, my name is Jeff. Yes, I might have had a few horror games in that last list, and a couple we might be revisiting today, but my name was actually Kirk back then, so entirely different perspectives today. It's also spooky season. I don't know if I mentioned that. Look, you want a proper intro, go watch these two videos. They've got better. Now, last time, some of you shits commented, "Oh, Undertale wasn't made in RPG Maker," despite me explicitly acknowledging that fact before arguing that it plays as if it was. But hey, fuck it. Apparently, I can't even cheat a little bit. So you can bet your ass every game on this damn list is true blue, authentic RPG Maker shit. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we have Hades, Gotham. Space Funeral, as the title suggests, isn't actually about space. Or a funeral, thank you. Number 9. Space Funeral was either made by someone whose body has naturally adapted to produce its own constant flow of psilocybin directly into their brain, or a 3-year-old child drooling on the keyboard mashing buttons while RPG Maker happens to be open on the PC. It has frogs, it has Pokemon, and Dracula smokes weed.
Good evening. I am Count Dracula.
How are things, Dracula?
Things are very good, yes.
Would you like to drink some wine?
I do not drink wine.
Is that your piano, Dracula?
Yes, I have many pianos. I like to play them in the evening. My accent has changed 3 times.
Do you know many songs, Dracula?
No, I simply make it up.
I guess you could say you vamp.
Very good, yes.
What do you do, Dracula?
I am Dracula.
What do you do, Dracula?
I like to drink the blood.
Anything else?
Well,
Do you like to smoke weed?
yes. Very good. Yes.
What do you do, Dracula?
I like to drink blood and smoke the weed.
That's super.
I am Dracula.
Ao-Oni translates to blue demon, which makes sense because in this game you're often on the run from a purple demon who's actually just this man that's just been put under a large dose of Photoshop's Liquify tool. In a tale entirely unique from anything you've ever fucking seen in your entire life, you're a bunch of teenagers that go to some mansion, and you'd never have guessed, right? But spooky stuff starts happening. Ao-Oni to RPG Maker horrors is like the original Donkey Kong to platformers. It's short, sweet, and pretty bare bones, but it's an absolute classic that went on to inspire hundreds of future titles. The puzzles are simple enough, but not boring or stupid. The chases will catch you off guard sometimes, and it'll only take you an hour or so. If you like purple giants following you through a library, then give it a go.
Actually want to have sex with a bikini warrior woman.
Stray Cat Crossing is interesting because, and stay with me here, you're probably not going to believe it, but get this. It's about this dog. So you're a scarf girl, and you meet this little girl. And you walk her home. She walks inside, but she's still got your scarf on. And I mean, that's not gonna do, is it? Because your scarf girl kind of fucks that all up if you haven't got your scarf anymore, doesn't it? Stray Cat Crossing is good because the story doesn't overstep its boundaries. It's a short, contained tale that doesn't require reading 4 Bibles and playing 8 endings to get there.
Welcome.
Stray Cat Crossing is bad because that story is still pretty cryptic. Everything's a metaphor, a symbol, or one of the other ones. Stray Cat Crossing is good because the soundtrack is pristine, often carried by an understated, eerie piano. Every track is deliberately scattered with sharp, unnerving notes of sound that linger just a little bit longer than comfortable. Stray Cat Crossing is bad. The witch's house, this bitch has louse. There were 3 blind mouse staying in my house, wearing a blouse whilst searching for a spouse. On a quest to find the one that shits on my chest, as you'd have guessed. The quest is still yet to be addressed, but you can rest assured I'll do my best to pass the test. But until that time, we calm, we unstressed, just like the hairline, these bars get in recessed. 10 out of 6. What I like about The Witch's House is that it doesn't follow the same cutscene, gameplay, cutscene loop that most of these others do. Most of these games will intro some spooky rumor about a 100-year curse haunting spook ghost mansion videotape on the side of town outskirts mansion. In The Witch's House, you get fuck all. Some jackass cat just peer pressures you into entering this creepy mansion door that happened to open by itself. Before you know it, you're making friends with frogs and getting haunted by some freakish banshee. Less dialogue means more playing. The puzzles are clever, they're thematic, the ending is exactly how it should be. Honestly, The Witch's House is just like if you got Aoni, you trimmed the fat, made it read cohesively, and just got rid of that random purple guy that seemed to keep showing up entirely. 6 out of 3. Mad Father, as the title suggests, is about to father. And you wouldn't have guessed it, but he's actually pretty mad. Christ, it wasn't that funny. Mad Father revolves around discovering and escaping the twisted human experiment inhabitants of your Mad Father's mansion. Oh, wait, that's why it's called that. If Witch's House is 3 blind mouse, then Mad Father is like 20 blind mice. In Mad Father, everything's bigger. If the plotline of Witch's House was cream, Mad Father's plot would be thickened cream. The setting is less linear. There's more art, more music, more bad guy. Your character is more annoying. There's just more here, and thus it just barely ranks higher for me, because this means there's also more reading. So if you're less familiar with the genre, I'd still recommend The Witch's House over this one. I don't know, you fucking choose, man. I can't make all the decisions here, Jesus. In work where surrealism takes center stage, Often, I feel like there's a scale. On one end of the scale is where 3 handfuls of seemingly random, unrelated, arbitrary rubbish is all thrown into a hydraulic press and a thing pops out, which, yes, risks coming off as a little bit all over the place, but also often creates the most innovative end results. On the other end is something more like Game of Thrones, where every little detail seems meticulously mapped out and planned, with utter cohesion on a very large scale, which, yes, sounds great, but Game of Thrones is actually Game of Thrones, and if you've watched that show, then you'll know that this approach likewise has its risks. What was I talking about? RPG Maker. Off sits on this end, in a somewhat of a golden zone, where it's super fucking random, yet ironically somehow feels pretty cohesive in its own strange way. The hyper-minimal approach to dialogue and visuals synergizes well with a crude batch of music tracks and scratchy, hand-drawn character design. I loved the aesthetic value of Off, but my fucking god, the random encounters did nothing for me beyond the first 1 or 2 fights, but you gotta spend an extra 1 or 2 hours total sitting through combat to finish this game. Off is like children, exceptionally frustrating, but hey, hopefully it's worth it in the end. Right. I'm cheating a bit here, as this is actually 4 games, but shh. Let me do the talking. Can you stop fucking interrupting me? Just shh. I did a whole video on these. Go check it out if you want an actual suitable intro to an RPG Maker video, and an actual video that isn't this.
Let's fool around a little bit.
Pocket Mirror instantly presents a fancy, higher quality first impression. From all its flashy effects, detailed sprites and character art, piano songs, smoke overlays. When something spooky happens, your girl goes, the bloody ground makes different noises depending on what you're walking on, smoke overlays. It's a slow burner, but the story just gets better and better as it becomes more apparent there's a lot more to it than there originally seemed. That said, some parts are very fucky, and sometimes if you run too quickly into a room, the engine can't take it and shits itself. Fucking again? My guess is the smoke overlays. Save often, and even then you might lose some progress occasionally. This game's exceptionally polished, much like any good... Lisa is a character from The Simpsons. Lisa the RPG is a video game made in RPG Maker. I've already spoken about this one, it's still one of my all-time favorite games, and it deserves its own dedicated video, but I mentioned it on my last one of these, so just piss off and watch that one. No, wait, stay here, finish this one, then go back and watch that one. Thank you, thanks. Omori is immediately captivating. The lovable roster of characters are all portrayed in such an innocent, childlike manner that's equal parts believable and refreshing to witness. Omori's writing cleverly shows a lot of its hand over telling it all, and the dialogue reveals this very real, demonstrably personal connection to what it feels like to be a kid. And this is piggybacked by the bomb-ass visual design. Look at this shit. This shit's cute as frickin' fuck. Everything's beaming with color. The illustrations were illustrated. You're reminded of that naive giddiness kids feel when hanging out with the people that they love. It takes no time at all to grow so attached to this game's roster of characters. Now, a pretty legitness RPG Maker horror will have a premise like this. Throw in a few puzzles, throw in some scares, and call it a day, right? Well, Omori does this neat little thing where it has this whole ass game on top of the other stuff. Junkyard, Raintown, Ghost Party, Humphrey. There's a huge world full of distinct, imaginative zones here to immerse yourself in. Now, it has turn-based combat, but it's varied, somewhat challenging, and actually engaging, What the fuck? Now this kinda seems like I'm cheating a bit, right? Like with Off, there's not, where the fuck are their spooks? Why isn't it scary? Well, Omori's horror works very differently than what we're used to in how real it is. The game lulls you in with this innocent, false sense of security before abruptly swapping and just shanking you directly in the heart, and then your tit, and finally, your other tit. It swaps out cheap jump scares, gory images, and maniacal villains with a narrative that instead targets and even challenges your humanity and emotions. Omori also deserves its own entire video, and I may very well give it one day. Alongside Lisa, it's one of the few in the genre that will give you a full 20+ hour length game with plenty of content to explore. These two games are both must-plays. Alright, you know me, I gotta throw in some honorable mentions because I feel bad missing stuff out and also want to subtly infer how much time I put into playing all these options before making a list, so here's some rapid fire. Blank Dream, very uniquely twisted plotline, appealing artwork but less appealing sprites and puzzles. Mogeko Castle, instantly appealing and unique look and premise that ended up feeling a bit flat and drawn out as it went on, still pretty quirky. Paranoiac, not crazy innovative, but effective and satisfying. Worth ticking off if you're hungry for more. Insanity, same as Paranoiac, but a level down across the board. I liked the unique character swapping approach. Mermaid Swamp, more of the same, but a unique take on its antagonists and their environment. Lisa the First is a minor, loosely connected prologue to Lisa the RPG. Not at all similar, but was quite memorable for me. Definitely in the surreal category. Yume Nikki. If you're well versed in this genre, you've probably been getting more and more angry at me for not showing this up on the list so far, especially now that it's one of the honorable mentions. Let there be no confusion, Yume Nikki is well and truly iconic. It's worth playing purely based on realizing just how much it's inspired everything else ever. But I'd only recommend this to someone if they're already very familiar with the genre. Yume Nikki plays more as a sort of surreal simulation than a game. There's next to no direction or structure, it's very visual, very abstract, and a very bizarre experience. As such, the gameplay is extremely minimal. Personally, I preferred scouring the wiki for hours over actually playing it. Don't hurt me, please. Omori did that already. Finally, with the number one spot, we have Ib. I've lost count of how many times I've sort of cheated on this list, but yes, it's the same number one as the last video. I've probably infuriated lots of you by putting this at the top, but Ib was so distinctly charming and memorable to me that I just don't give a toss. Ib holds the number one spot for me because it's always the game I'd recommend first. It's a unique take that remains accessible to newcomers, and it's short and simple enough to facilitate this. The art gallery is consistently as haunting as it is alluring, and thematically facilitates its puzzles beautifully. The characters and their interactions are brief yet impactful, the music reliably endows the tone and atmosphere throughout. Ib is a perfectly encapsulated, charming little game, and it's honestly hard for me to find fault in. So there we have it, lads. Happy Halloween. Thanks for sticking around, especially those of you that came from my RPG Maker videos, since they definitely seem to be doing the most for me as far as bringing you guys in is concerned. I know my content tends to vary from games to book reviews to alcoholism, but I'm just enjoying making what's fun. I hope that's cool with you all. It doesn't take a mathematician to crunch the numbers on how much a reach the goal I set at the end of my Cyberpunk video was, but I've realized it doesn't really matter a great deal. Thinking about 500 people in a room having all taken interest in the things I make for a laugh is already so surreal for me. So thanks for that, lads. It's nice to celebrate these milestones, but having fun's the main thing, eh? Plenty planned where that came from. Wouldn't mind you pressing that red button if you fancy. Bit of a waffle to close things up, hey? Anyway, with that said, okay, maybe I should come clean and be honest with you guys. The real number one title is none other than Undertale, baby. Best game made than just Undertale. You're never gonna find a game better than this one. You'll never find an RPG Maker game.
Very good game. RPG Maker.
Hades.